can take these things away that we hold so dearly here in the city of St. Petersburg. So the question becomes, what do we do next? It's what we always do. We rise above. We find new and innovative ways to say, this is who we are, and this cannot just be painted over. This is just the beginning. Just months ago, I talked about a musical that's fond to my heart, the musical Rent. It's still true today, and I added a couple of lines for even more context because I think it's even more important. In one of the songs, there is only now, there is only here, give in to love or live in fear. No other path, no other way. Just like I said before, St. Pete will continue to give in to love. That will not change. I have no doubts about that. We are going to lean in, and there is no other way. That is who St. Pete is and who we will always be. So thank you for being here this morning, and we are going to continue to find new and innovative ways to show our history, our culture, and who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doctor?
I want to thank you both. Always have this moment where I'm like, we probably should have coordinated because you're going to hear a lot of the same, but I can never quote Rent quite like the council chair, which is also one of my favorite movies. So thank you. Hello, friends. My name is Dr. Byron Green College. I happen to have the pleasure of serving as the president of St. Pete Pride's board of directors. I started this morning off in gratitude, which may sound strange, but yesterday was Marsha P. Johnson's birthday. Marsha P. Johnson, for those of you that did not know, is a Black trans woman that is credited with the starting of the movement of what we now know today as Pride. And in that moment, it was a reminder both of the resilience of both of the communities that Marsha represented, both as a Black woman and as a trans woman. Where do we find ourselves here in this moment? That both communities are born of fight. Both communities have a deep-rooted history of being able to bounce back better, stronger than ever before. And in this moment, a reminder of what our ancestors have done and that we stand on their shoulders. In that, I recognize that this moment feels heavy. Getting calls about the Pulse Memorial being painted over, getting actively involved in this fight to save art, which we recognize has always been a central part of the resistance and a beautiful part of what makes this city who we are. The rainbow imagery outside of our streets, the Black History Matters, the other fantastic murals that we have a part of this city make us who we are. I've had the awesome opportunity to talk to community members across the board, and they told me their stories about why they care, why they showed up in those moments. I've had the opportunity to talk to tourists that say, like, I came to St. Pete because I wanted to see this mural. I felt more welcome before I had the chance to talk to a single human. And for those of you that don't know, I am a classically trained researcher. That's my day job. This is my volunteer job. So having conversations about the data, and I asked very candidly, what is the data on safety in this moment? And was provided with that data that our murals have increased the safety measures. And I think that's important to have that conversation. And what Council Chair said, that we want to be a part of this conversation and lead with facts and not feelings. But both exist in this moment, that our community does have very strong feelings about saving this art. And there is the data to back up why these things increase safety. The ban on artistic expression in public crossways, specifically targeting rainbow imagery and the experiences of Black folk across the board, is all about inclusivity. And whether you want to be a state that pulls people in, that holds people together and reminds people why we have the ability to be the greatest state in the nation, or to push people away. I want to say that St. Pete Pride as a community, we are not going anywhere. Queer people have existed, Black folk have existed, students have been a part of the change for social justice for years. We want to continue to fight and show up, but I am reminded by our founding documents that we, the people, give consent to the governed. How we show up in this moment is way more important than in any other time in our history about fighting back and saving art and saving visual representations of inclusion. I want to say one more thank you to the council people and to the mayor for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate it. All right. We'll take a few questions if there are any.
Share kind of the ways we talked about what other ways that you might kind of show support and replace the murals.
Well, I think it's a blank slate. This letter from FDOT is, 3 days old. We got it on Friday. But we talked about banners, poles, new art installations. The conversation is just starting. And that's really what's so exciting. We can put all the creative minds in our city together on how we can build back even stronger and bolder in terms of expressing who we are as a city. So I think everything's on the table. We want to adapt to this new reality of what we're seeing in terms of enforcement on our roadways. So we have to find a different path there. But I think the conversation's just started.
Mayor, Key West hired legal resources to fight this. Why not call for an administrative hearing?
Well, if you read that letter from FDOT on Friday, they make it abundantly clear, and I saw some misinformation online. And this is from the letter on the 22nd. The last paragraph says, you are further notified that you may file a request for administrative proceeding pursuant to Chapter 120 Florida statute, which is set forth in the enclosed notice of administrative hearing within 14 days. Goes on to say, please be advised that the hearing will not involve a request for an exception or waiver to permit the non-conforming pavement markings to remain in place. The department has already reviewed the pavement markings at the locations mentioned and determined that the pavement markings will not be allowed. So why do an administrative hearing? It's not going to result in us keeping those markings. We looked at every option. We talked to our attorneys. We did not see a pathway through litigation to keep those street murals.
Mayor, FDOT themselves is going to remove the murals. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you know when? I mean, September 4th is the deadline.
We don't have a date, but FDOT will be removing the murals.
Are they going to do it?
that decision, Mayor, to have them doing will they charge?
It's their I think flawed interpretation of the safety impacts. It's their decision, and I wanted them to remove it and not have City of St. Pete folks remove it because it's not our decision. We disagree with it, and so FDOT should be the ones removing it.
Are they going to give you a heads up when they're planning to do it?
I believe they will.
Will you give us a heads up? The city
It's all public information. When we know, the public will know.
How much is this expected to cost?
We don't have a cost figure on it yet.
Do you know what bucket of money it would come from, or what funds would be spent?
No, I don't.
For the utility boxes, are those included?
My discussion is that those are exempt. Evan, am I right on that? So the utility boxes will not be changed.
Also, I saw the report that highway patrol was starting that intersection on Orlando, which that's where all.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of went off script for a minute and said, let's obey all the laws. We can express our views, we can protest, but you cannot block an intersection under new state law. We can give you more info on that. Chief Holloway is here. We've discussed that. So we want folks to protest, exercise their First Amendment rights, but do not break the law, do not block the intersections. Or I think that's why Florida Highway Patrol state troopers are in Orlando right now.
Mayor, you mentioned in your speech what the city risks by pushing back even further. Can you summarize that again, the millions of dollars?
Well, the threat was all FDOT funding, and that's a huge pot of money. And there was another phrase that said state funding, so that's not limited to FDOT under that interpretation. So look at everything FDOT is doing in our city right now, whether it's the express lanes on I-275, the work that was done on Fifth Avenue. We depend a lot on FDOT in that partnership. I did not think it was worth risking that when we're probably have no chance of winning in court. Yes.
If they can revoke state funding for the road, are you concerned about them threatening to revoke any other state funding for rainbow flags and other city government places, libraries?
We are actively engaged every year. As you know, every year there is a proposal in Tallahassee to stop us from raising the pride flag or the Woodson flag. So we're engaged with that every year. I can't tell you what they might come up with next, but we'll be engaged and we'll fight for our home rule. One more question? Yeah.
Is that something that was verbally told to you? Is it something that you're just interpreting on the documents?
Yeah, you probably missed when I just covered that. There are parts of the letter that specifically say transportation funding. Then there are parts of either that letter or another one that just says state funding. So it doesn't limit it to transportation. So that's me reading what they wrote and watching their actions.
You also referenced being married, intentional activity, John Lewis, and good trouble. Is this an opportunity for good trouble?
I think this is the definition of it.
So, and that is just having the state painted over and paying for it with city funds?
Not understanding your question.
I'm just saying, what exactly is the example of good trouble in city?
When we build back better and stronger.
And that is just working with artists and.
We're going to do it St. Pete's way, and I think what's going to come out of this is going to be much more bold and much more impactful than those 3 or 4 targeted murals. Yeah, please, Doctor.
I think to add to that, we've been in active communication with community members for the last few weeks about what does the fight after this look like. And we've been in conversations with the mayor's office and with city council, both with ideas that are coming to us from individual community members and organizations across the state. And what does that fight look like? We have so many people excited to join our fight here, recognizing that Florida's the playbook for what will happen across the country. So being able to get into some of that good trouble with the mayor and city council's help is what our residents are really excited about.
Thank you, Doc. All right, thank you all. We appreciate it.